Hello, and welcome to the Mushroom Murder Trial podcast. My name is Lisa, and guess what? We have made it to the final day of Erin Patterson's triple murder and attempted murder trial. So what happened? And what's next? Let me take you through all the news and the updates. But before we launch into what happened today, head to my website, mushroommurdertrial.com, to subscribe to the free newsletter. It's the place to be. It's got free stuff. It's very exciting. And if you haven't yet, please subscribe to this podcast on your preferred platform so you never miss an episode. And I love the occasional review. That would be fabulous as well. It's all feedback, so thank you. Now let's get into it. Miss Patterson, age 50, is pleading not guilty to murdering 3 relatives and the attempted murder of a 4th by serving them a Beef Wellington meal that contained poisonous death cap mushrooms. Her defence is arguing this was a tragic mistake. So yesterday, defence barrister Colin Mandy SC was challenging the prosecution's central arguments against the accused, describing them as, quote, convoluted and absurd. He noted 4 key claims made by the prosecution: that Erin Patterson committed murder without a clear motive, fabricated a cancer diagnosis to lure her lunch guests to the fatal lunch, assumed those guests would never disclose her supposed medical condition, and believed she could disguise a fatal poisoning as an ordinary case of gastro. Mr. Mandy said a pivotal moment for Miss Patterson came on August 1, 2023, 3 days after the lunch, where her estranged husband, Simon Patterson, allegedly accused her of using a food dehydrator to poison his parents. According to the defence, it was then that Miss Patterson began to panic and to fabricate parts of her account. In response to the prosecution's mobile phone-related evidence, Mr. Mandy argued that it was implausible that Miss Patterson, if guilty of, quote, cold, calculated murders, would have kept using her original phone A, rather than discard or reset it. He said she continued using the same device after the incident. I've got a whole episode on that a few days ago, so if you just flip back, you'll be able to find it. The defence also pointed to Miss Patterson's pathology results from 2 days after the meal as evidence she too became sick from the Beef Wellington. Mr. Mandy highlighted objective findings: low potassium, raised hemoglobin, and elevated fibrogen levels, which he said could have been in no way faked or based on self-reporting. Quote, if you think at the end of your deliberations that it's possible this was an accident, a reasonable possibility, you must find her not guilty. Our submission to you is the prosecution can't get over that high bar of beyond reasonable doubt. When you consider the actual evidence and consider it properly, methodically, and analytically, your verdicts on these charges should be not guilty. As well, the barrister reminded the jury that Miss Patterson was not obliged to testify in this trial. Mr. Mandy said the way she answered questions was, quote, careful, even pedantic. But Mr. Mandy added Miss Patterson had subjected herself to an incredible amount of scrutiny when she chose to testify. She was not trying to, quote, charm or persuade the jury, but just to answer questions truthfully, the court heard. Quote, even when the truth was deeply embarrassing or involving admitting she told lies, what more could she do? She exposed herself and her account to close examination. But Mr. Mandy says Ms. Patterson's evidence in the witness box remained consistent throughout her testimony. He told the court that, let's see, you're saying this is accurate or is unreliable or is dishonest. And she was questioned extensively about that. And what we can say to you, what our submission is to you, is that she came through all that unscathed. Her account remained coherent and consistent day after day, even when challenged rapid fire from multiple angles repeatedly. Furthermore, if the jury found Ms. Patterson's evidence true, they must acquit her of all charges. If they reject Ms. Patterson's testimony, they still need to consider if the prosecution has proved the case beyond reasonable doubt based on their evidence. Furthermore, he said, if you think that maybe Erin deliberately poisoned the meal, you must find her not guilty. If you think she probably deliberately poisoned the meal, you must find her not guilty. If you think it's possible that she intended to kill or cause really serious injury to Don or Gail or Heather, you must find her not guilty. If you think maybe she intended those things, then you must find her not guilty. If you think probably she intended those things, you must find her not guilty. You have to find her not guilty. Now, that's from the transcript, by the way, from the Supreme Court of Victoria. At the end of Mr. Mandy's address, Justice Christopher Beale informed the jury that he would begin his final directions to them on Tuesday before they commence their deliberations. So they've only partway through, the jury. So, okay, legends, we did it. We went hard and we didn't go home at any point, and we followed this trial to the end. So what is going to happen now? Well, I were to be a fly on the wall of the coffee catch-ups as the defence and the prosecution return to their offices. And we'll be waiting with bated breath to hear what the judge says in his instructions to the jury next week. I will be reporting that. I'll also come back with some more reads from the transcript. I'll see if my friend Louise can join me again. So thank you so much for listening to the Mushroom Murder Trial podcast today. For more information, visit my website. Make sure you subscribe to the newsletter on mushroommurdertrial.com. And it's jam-packed with all the news that you want about this trial. My social media, that is in the show notes as well if you'd like those links. And I will also make sure you're up to date with the newsletter. Thanks. And if you were feeling like rewarding me for the thousands of hours I've spent on this work, I have a Buy Me a Coffee membership which allows you to pay $5 as a thanks and I get a coffee. And it pays for all those wonderful podcast-related expenses and the occasional coffee for myself as well. Now, I want you to all have a good weekend, chill out, come back on Tuesday with lots of energy with your best observation skills out and ready to go. But thank you so much for everything. Have a great weekend. And guess what? I'm going to be talking to you very, very soon. Thanks. Bye.